probably be some other people joining as we get going here. Does that sound like a plan?
Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Yeah. So we've been around, we're a small company, but we've been around about 5 years, started right at the beginning of the pandemic, supporting guitar programs. I used to teach guitar in college privately and ukulele, and kind of developed this practice song-based methodology. And then my kind of day job has been in technology and software. And so I kind of combined my teaching experience with a love for music plus kind of product into what's now Moosiko. Started off with guitar. We probably have a couple hundred, districts using guitar. I think now over 10,000 students using all of our kind of guitar, ukulele, modern band tools. And then we have recently added songwriting. Where are you? You at a high school level? Or you at a middle school level?
It's high school. Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm teaching this semester a senior high school class for guitar, and then next semester it'll be like grade 9 and 10.
Awesome. And do you play guitar yourself?
Yes, I play. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Great.
Yeah.
That's awesome. About 70% of our customers actually don't play guitar. Like, the guitar is not their primary instrument. They're choir directors or they're like clarinet players. And so it's awesome to hear that you do play. Cool. So our platform is browser-based. It works on laptops. It's responsive. So it, work on your phone and tablets as well. I'll show you, as we get into this, how to add students. But, basically you and your students log in with your school email addresses using Google. Do you use the Google Suite?
What do we use? Yeah. I'm not sure actually. Like I have Google Drive and Microsoft as well.
What do you use for your email?
I think it's Microsoft Office.
Okay. Yeah, so we both support both Microsoft Teams login and Google, G Suite login. We have seen every type of IT set up on the planet, so we'll definitely be able to work with whatever you have. But the kind of point I wanted to make is that you and the students are logging in with their existing credentials, right? So it makes it really easy for students to log in. We have both guitar and ukulele as part of the program. You get both, but if you have a guitar class, you can kind of hide the ukulele. And then we have about 400 songs on the platform from the 50s all the way through today. We've been slowly adding them, every month kind of for the last 5 years. A lot of it's student requested. So, we can see we have Elvis, we have, La Bamba. Actually, this song, Put Your Head on My Shoulders, a 1950s hit, was popular on TikTok 2 years ago, and it was our #1 most popular song on the platform. Go figure. Okay. And then we have songs all through the decades, up into the latest stuff, which is Taylor Swift, hip hop, BTS is Korean pop. We have songs in Spanish, we have songs in Korean, Japanese, a lot of Mexican pop, as you can imagine. We serve Hispanic populations in school districts. So there's something for everybody. And the purpose is really students want to play and learn songs that they love. This front page is kind of the home page where we've got kind of recommendations for a student. And so again, every student has their own login. And so every student gets kind of a personalized experience. And I'll talk about how that works. But we have our most popular songs, classic riffs, easy 3-chord songs. So just some like nice categories for students to browse through. We have a nice kind of filtering up here is probably the most used feature that we have. Because it makes it easy to find. We have 400 songs in the catalog, and you're gonna want a way to find them. So you can filter by basic chords. We support about 5 different types of strumming patterns. You can easily filter for bar chords, and then we have melodies and riffs and also scales. You can search for number of chords. So here's all our 2-chord songs. Probably the easier ones on the platform. And then our 6+ chord songs probably more complex. And then the most used feature is this chord feature. So I can specifically say I want to find all songs that have a D and an A7 in them. And so this will filter all the songs that have those 2 chords. So if your lesson today is the D to A7 transition, you or your students can use this and find a song that they're interested in. Another feature is, students often they're like, okay, I can play, C, D, G, E minor with my eyes closed. This is great. But what songs can I play? They all want to play songs, right? And so this makes it really easy to find songs based on the skills that they already know. And you can also kind of filter by lesson key and song key. About half of our songs we transpose to the easier keys, right? If the song is like in the key of B, a beginner is not going to play B off the bat, right? And so we'll transpose it into G, and I'll show you kind of where we indicate a capo position if you have a class set of capos.
Yeah, we have a set.
So our kind of learning philosophy is taking a song and breaking it down into bite-sized pieces, and then helping students learn each piece. And so let me just start at the beginning here. So in this, counting stars, the first thing to learn is an A minor. We have the finger position here, and students can dive in and see kind of a photo of the finger position. And we call out some just good habits to get into to produce that nice clean sound, as well as the incorrect way, calling out some bad habits, that students should do. So students like to go back and forth. They're like, oh, this is the right way, this is the wrong way. And then we have audio files for every slide. Can you hear this? Yeah. So that's the correct, and here's the incorrect. Probably hear a lot of that early on. And so again, students are like, okay, yeah, I sound like that. I sound muffled. I'm doing something wrong. Let me try to, help and correct myself. And then at the bottom, repeat this 20 times, take a minute break, repeat another 20 times. So really kind of, again, focus on deliberate practice. Once you've got a clean sound, now we can kind of practice strumming. And then we add a new chord. And you're going to get the hang of this. Once we know 2 chords, well, now let's practice the transition between the 2. And then we slowly build up, right? So students that maybe know some of this stuff can move forward more quickly. Those who have never touched a guitar before can kind of go at their own pace. And we're learning the different chords. We're practicing the different transitions. This particular one has a bar chord in it, right? We've got an F in this song. But what we end up building up to is a chord progression. So this will go through, and again, students can kind of play along to this and kind of learn the progression. All to kind of get to our song sheet. So you're probably familiar with Ultimate Guitar, but these are super simple. They're clean, they're accurate, they don't have ads spread everywhere. And we color code them to make it very clear for students exactly when the transition happens. A lot of students think it's not clear to them just listening to the song, right? They're not ear trained yet. And so by this point, of course, they have practiced this chord progression hundreds of times. And ideally, they can play the first song first line of a song they love as quickly as possible, right? They probably have sung the song with their friends a million times, and that's like what connects that emotional connection with music and the instrument in themselves. We do have an auto scroll. This is my favorite feature because I just hate stopping and scrolling. So this actually scrolls to the true speed of the song. So students can go and play it hands-free, like from beginning to end. We don't play the song through the platform because we're not a streaming service, but we do have a Spotify playlist that we'll share with you if you wanted to like play along with the song. There's a metronome. So, if you wanted to turn on like a hi-hat, just kind of keep a beat. This one's at 122 BPM. What else do we have here? Chords. So if they're like, oh, what was that? What was that G chord again? They can go and quickly just search for the G chord.
Can I
go ahead? Yeah.
Can I get you to go back to that other screen?
This one here?
Where it was scrolling down. So if I set the metronome slower or faster, will it scroll to that speed as well?
It will.
One of the things I find when it scrolls, when I find a website that scrolls down while the song's playing is what is it? Yeah, no, I just find sometimes it's a little too fast.
Yeah.
So it's like
look, I just dropped it to 80.
Yeah.
That's a little slower.
And then the scrolling will be slower as well, right?
It will, yep. Let's go all the way down to 60. You can see it's slowed way down.
Okay, yeah.
And let's go. Let's actually, I've never done this before. Let's go to 220. Let's see what happens.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's going a lot faster. um, so yeah, this is one of the kind of neat things we did is we figured out the length of the song, the length of the lyrics itself, and the tempo, and kind of combined it all to do this in real time.
Okay.
And then original brings us back to the original 122.
Okay, good.
So that's the song sheet. And what is unique? Oh, let me show you strumming. So we take a similar approach where we're just like practice a down strum, practice an up strum. In this case, we're breaking down let's go to the full beat. So this is what we call kind of a backbeat strumming pattern.
1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
Right, and so slowly building up with the right hand open, open strings. So once we kind of get that right hand down, well, then let's go and add in the A minor chord. And so add the C, and then this is what I call the, rubbing your head, patting your belly, next step of the guitar. They're having to transition to the left and strum with the right. And so hopefully we've kind of practiced enough on both sides. We're kind of putting it together, and then we continue to build up, right, with the chords and all the transitions all the way until we get back to the full chord progression with the strumming.
Okay.
And at the end, what we do is, this is kind of the key piece of it, we click like kind of complete, I know how to play this. And what we do is we track all the skills in that lesson. I'll show you where those end up in a minute. And then we suggest new songs to play that have a new chord progression or a new transition that the student does not yet know. And they can kind of go through and they're like, oh yeah, let's learn a Blake Shelton song. They can click this and they're off. And so the idea here is to really create this like personalized learning path for each student via the songs that they are familiar with and that they love.
And they would all would they all have access to this, and they could do different things at different times within each other, or is it just something I purchase and then I show them and we do it all together on my board?
So you can have both. We have an option to purchase both.
Right.
The most popular one, I would say 80% of our customers purchase the student one because the student wants to play songs that they know. And that personalized experience is really why the students love the platform.
Right. Okay. That's probably the more expensive one too, right? Like, because it's probably for each student it costs so much, right?
Yeah. And I can talk about, like, maybe when I get through the demo here, I'll talk about some of the offerings and prices. So we capture all those skills for the student here, right? And so this is where it's really personalized. And so we're capturing all the chords, the transitions, the progression that the student is learning. And the student can dive in here and see, like, oh, here's all the chords I've learned in green, and here's the chords that I haven't yet learned. And so they can actually click a G7. Here's all the songs that have a G7 in it. And so they're like, okay, I want to add another chord to my tool belt here. Let me go and do that with an Ariana Grande song. Same with transitions. I can go and see, here's all the transitions I've learned and practiced. And in gray, here's all the transitions I haven't practiced. And so again, if students want to like just kind of keep going and building, they can be like the B to G transition. We have one song, however long, that has the B to G transition.
B to G. Yeah.
So then you can do chord progressions. There are a lot of them, but here's all the chord progressions. And and it was 3 years ago, I think we had one student who learned every single skill. He did everything. I gave him a lifetime subscription to the platform. We also track practice time, and this is literally just a counter in the app, kind of a timer that's counting a student. But it's helpful because you'll get to see this data as well. I'll show you that in a minute. But the student can also see, like, oh yeah, like I haven't practiced the last 2 weeks. That's why I'm falling behind. And it allows you too to say, like, the reason Johnny is better than everybody else is because he's been practicing, 60 minutes a week consistently. And if you want to learn the guitar, that's what it takes, right? There's
And
no
these
there's
numbers
no
on the
cheat.
bottom, these numbers on the bottom here, that's the 15th of the month, and then the
Yeah.
22nd of the month, and the
Yeah, this
29th.
is July 15th to August 27th.
Okay.
So this is showing every week for this account. I've done 199 minutes of practicing this week. That's because I'm doing a lot of demos for teachers at this, back to school time. Oh, I forgot to show you our video tool. So let's go to let's do Don't Be Cruel. At the bottom here, and this is something you can enable, we have a video recording tool where the student can click record and it will record them, playing a slide or playing a song. This exists both on the song sheet and on the lesson itself. They can watch the video, they can redo it if they're not happy with it, but then they can submit that, and that video will dump in your teacher portal, which I'll get to in a minute. And so, we kind of track that for the student. So this is kind of their portfolio of videos that, we show them. And at the end of the year, it's really cool for them to go back and look at the first video they ever made and kind of see where they are now. And kind of, you can see that big difference in sense of accomplishment.
Cool.
Let me show you a melody lesson. We take a very similar approach. Let's just do like a happy birthday, very simple one. We take this happy birthday, we just break it down to like the first bit. We show the staff, we show the tab. You have the ability to hide either one. Teachers have pretty strong opinions on like, I only want to do standard notation or I just want to do tab. And here's the second bar. Right, learn that. And then now let's put them together. Right. So we have that for, happy birthday. Probably our most difficult lesson in the whole thing is Layla. It's just fast and up and down the neck. But we have like Back in Black, Dave Tripper, a lot of the like fun riffs you're familiar with.
Yeah, sure.
And then we have scales. Oops. So the kind of in the major or the common keys, major, natural minor, and minor pentatonic.
Yeah.
And we just go up the scale. I'll just go to the song sheet. We just go up the scale 2 octaves and down the scale 2 octaves. So students that want to like rip and solo can practice their scales. Okay, so that's kind of the like learning piece of it. The students have access to this full catalog and everything I've shown you. You have access to this full catalog. Any questions before I get into like what the teacher sees? Okay. So as a teacher, you can create your classes. If you have multiple classes, you can do that. You can dive into a class. Again, I'm kind of getting into adding students. I'm not going to go into this too much, but like there's a lot of ways we can add students in here through a bulk upload of a CSV file. You can do them one by one, or you can import from Google Classroom or Microsoft Teams if you're using that already.
Important.
How many students do you have?
Probably about 15.
Okay. Yeah, so one by one, manually is probably like the easiest for you. But some of our teachers have, 75 students over multiple classes. So we can just kind of do a bulk import. Okay. But you get to see, you can see for each student their skills, right, in their practice time. I only have 2 in here, but obviously as the students are learning and kind of acquiring skills, you can see all that data. And then we sum it up into total skills, songs, and practice time for that class that you have here. The assessments page is the dumping ground for all the videos. And so you can see like, here's the video I just sent. This is today. I was learning a chord progression. I was learning this chord progression. And I was on the Don't Be Cruel song lesson. And then you can watch the video. This is the one. You can send feedback like, nice work, A+ or whatever. And so teachers kind of use this where they're like, okay, the lesson we did today was a G to C transition. Go into Moosiko, pick any song you like that has the G to C transition. I don't care what you choose, but I'm going to be grading you on that transition. And so students can learn a song they love, but then they open the video and they kind of show that, during when they're playing that song, they show the teacher this is the transition. A lot of teachers like to have them, show the left hand of the guitar on the fretting hand. And then they can submit that, and then the teacher can kind of like quickly run through this. Just saves them a bunch of time. Actually, during COVID, teachers were at home with COVID, like grading students that were back in the class. There's a bunch of settings in here. I won't go through in detail, but like we do have explicit songs. We just go by the recording industry, the record label industry, like explicit songs. You can hide those if you want. You can hide specific songs. At the younger kind of classes, like Margaritaville, right? It references drinking, like a fifth grade guitar class. They don't want to show Margaritaville, even though it's not explicit. Instrument access, you can hide and show that. And then just some like, enablement admin stuff at the bottom.
Okay.
Any questions so far?
No, I mean, it sounds great. I think I would have to, like, once I ordered it, I would have to really fool around with it. I'm not really very technologically savvy, but I would like. It does sound like a good program that would benefit my students once I could actually get them all, in account or whatever.
Yep.
It does sound like pretty cool.
Yeah, that's not a problem. I can help you do that. We run into like every type of setup. Typically, like if to set you up, I'll do a training with you, and I'll just on a Zoom call like this, I'll walk you through getting your students in there.
Okay.
I'm not. That will take 5 minutes. I'm not worried about that.
So that would be just between you and me, or would I need the students there?
No, just you and me. So what we'll do is we would add the students here. I would need to know your roster of students, first name, last name, and their email. We will add them here, and we can just do that together. And then once they're added, like I said, students simply just log in the way that I showed at the beginning of the call here.
Okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's pretty simple.
Can I get a hold of you if I needed to? Can I contact or somebody to help me out if I have some technological problems?
Yeah, it'll be me. And again, like I said, like if we go forward with this, I'll set up a training call, and you have my email. You have my phone number if you want it as well. But yeah, once it takes about 5 minutes for us to add your students in there.
Okay.
But then after that, students are pretty tech savvy these days. They get in, like you're seeing, it's pretty self-explanatory. Doesn't require a lot of training. Students go in and they just have the ball.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds great. Yeah. Where are you located, Dan?
I'm in the Boston area.
Boston. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, what about you?
Well, I'm way up in Northern Ontario, Canada.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, it's a really small, we're in a really rural small town with about 1,500 people.
Okay. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, I think we have a couple of customers in Canada. Most are in the US, of course. But yeah, is guitar program big in kind of Canadian public school system?
Well, it depends where you are. I mean, lots of bigger schools have band programs, but guitar has become pretty popular in the last 15 years or so, like the guitar programs as well. But then our school didn't used to have a music program. So because I'm a musician and I moved up here, we were able to start, and we were donated a bunch of guitars. So we were able to start a music program. So it's been running for a couple of years now. Yeah.
Awesome. The other piece we have is the songwriting. Do you want me to walk through that at all?
Sure. Yeah. Let's hear it.
Yeah. So this is brand new. Basically, it's kind of like a songwriting builder. We have a desktop version. We have an app version as well. So students can come in here and we have some kind of like, templates. You can create a basic song structure, kind of a basic chord progression in G. And then this is literally just love me do if you want to like start that as a template. But you can go in here and what we have on the left is kind of like a Google Doc. You're like where you can write lyrics, and then on the right is song structures. And so I can kind of drag a song structure here on the left, and it'll pop in. Here's my new verse. We're in the key of B here, and so you can see we've got chords in the key of B, where I can just go and drag kind of chords over, and I'm just going to plop them in there. If I want, let's say I want a B7, I can search for a B7. And so, it's really easy for students to like just put down lyrics and drag and drop chords, select the key and drag and drop chords. You don't have to know a lot about theory, but you already can kind of start creating a song and writing your own song. And what we found, we just rolled this out last spring, and we found, students are pretty creative. Like when you like allow them to write music, they like, come out of the woodwork, and can write like these beautiful songs. And so it really opens up kind of the creativity of music as opposed to just like learning an instrument, kind of playing rote. So we have a rhyming, a thesaurus. So if I want to like what rhymes with like and, whoops, I closed it. Here are rhymes that rhyme with end, and then here's a thesaurus. So there's some kind of lyric tools. And then we have recording. And so, let's say I'm thinking about, a melody or a guitar piece. How do I want the kind of the strumming to go? I can kind of record the little riff that I'm thinking about.
And then you can strum too.
You could, yeah, you can play it back. It's kind of meant to be like when you're creating a song, there's like an oral component. I need to remember like, oh, how was I thinking about that verse again? And so you can, here's the new recording. So like, here's like a strumming pattern I like. So you can save that. We have backing tracks. So same type of thing as the song sheet. Like, okay, like I want this to be maybe a slower song. I want it to be, you've got a pop backing track, a rock, a blues. Let's do folk. Let's say I want to write a folk tune. I can, play this. It's nice to have a nice kind of a percussive element when you're thinking about, writing a song. And then this is our latest product. I'm going to see if this works here. I have not done this before. Or I'm going to show my phone, not voice memo. No,
that's the same one I have on my phone there, that voice memo.
Yeah. So I have the voice memo is really good, but where's QuickTime Player? Yeah, do you write music?
Yeah. So whenever I get an idea, I'll just put it into my phone, that voice memo on my phone. Yeah,
so I'm actually really curious on the app we have here, because so I like to write music too, and I would always like write get an audio on my voice memo, but then like a note in my notes app, and things would always be all over the place. And so we kind of created this songwriting app. Can you see my phone here?
Yeah.
Is this visible? Okay.
Yeah.
So this is called our songwriting notebook app. And so basically like you can go and here's actually the song we were just working on. And I can just do this on my mobile phone, right? So I can write lyrics here on the phone. And then I can just tap to add a chord, right? So I can add an E chord. Okay, here's the new verse that we just wrote. Right, so same kind of idea, just on the phone. We can go into our audio files. You can see here's the audio file I just recorded on the desktop. But again, I can like tap this, like the voice memo app. Again, it's just like built into the songwriting experience here. So I can kind of save that. And then we have a whole, what we call my seed. So oftentimes like you don't just write the song in one go. You have an idea for a song, or you have a cool lyric, or you have a cool audio idea that you want to capture and maybe, work on it later. And so I can go in here and like, here's kind of all my ideas that I've had over the last, couple months or so. So I went camping recently, and had this idea about like, we all share the same sun, the same sunny day around the world, no matter where we are. And so like, here's just some notes I jotted down. Maybe it will turn into a song someday. Same thing with lyrics. I don't have a lot of lyrics in here, but if you have like some cool lyric ideas, you can capture them all in this folder. And here's just my random audio ideas. I was like playing around with some doo-wop melodies that I really liked, and not ready for a song yet, but I just wanted to like capture them.
And this is something they could do on their phone, but it's attached to the.
Yeah, so I'm just here on my phone.
Right.
But it's all the same kind of code base. So whatever they're doing on the phone here, you actually see it. It's updating here, right? It's the same program, just a desktop view of it and a mobile view of it.
Yeah, they would just have to like log in on their phone, right?
Yeah, and they actually just log in with the same school credentials that they used to log in on their laptop. It's all the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So let me just get to like, what it costs. I know you have that question. So we have a couple offerings here. Let me just reload this. It's white for some reason. Okay, here we go. So, all right. So the kind of the class accounts, right, where the students get their own access is $17 per student, and that's for the entire school year. Over 100 students, you only have 15, but if you have over 100 for the district, this we drop it down to $15 per student, so just a little bit of a volume discount, and that includes everything like the guitar, the ukulele learning product, the songwriting product, the mobile app. It's all one thing. If you just wanted a one to your own teacher account to throw up in front of the students on a smart board or a monitor or whatever like that, that's $179 for you. And then we are offering just the songwriting piece only. And so like if there's a lot of schools that don't have a guitar program, or like they have a choir program or music theory program, they just want the songwriting. They're not interested in learning the instrument. That's just $5 per student per year, and that's the songwriting builder and the app that I showed you.
Okay.
A lot of it.
Yeah, at the bottom there.
Yeah, and then like I said at the beginning, about 70% of our customers, like, guitar is not their primary instrument, so they like don't even know how to play. Never mind know how to teach it. And so we have about a kind of a beginning guitar and ukulele curriculum. That's a 60-page PDF that kind of goes through a rough kind of lesson plan, 12 lessons, and it talks about like how to pace the class, kind of intro guitar stuff. It comes with a shared resource folder of lesson plans, rubric templates, assessment guides, and just some like assets. So if you're starting a guitar program and like you don't have like the chord assets or images or lesson plans built out for how to teach, chord transitions or strumming patterns, like we have all that. And so that's the kind of the full PD package of $299 per teacher.
Now all that
and
stuff
it obviously pairs with the platform. Like a lot of the examples in the PDF in the curriculum we have in the lesson in the platform.
Yeah.